Hey, it's Jim Corsi, pastor of Mosaic Community Church, and this is episode 1. Our question, I think the question that I'd like to ask today is, why do we keep doing church the same way and expecting something different to happen in our cities or in our community or even in our culture? I've heard it said countless times that the definition of sanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting some kind of different result. I think we're guilty here, and I think something has to change. I believe today we're hitting exactly what we're aiming for, and what we're aiming for is growth. We want to grow our churches. I think that's more important than anything to us. I think we're more concerned with growing our churches than growing our people in God. And I think we're more concerned with growing our churches than revival, than global change, than anything else. And I think it consumes the church culture about how the size of your church is everything. Conferences, everything, books. It's all about growing your church a whole lot more than it's about growing disciples. And here, listen, understand me here is that I fully believe that more people in church is a good thing. I do, especially if we're seeing people come to Jesus. But here's the thing: statistics don't lie. Christianity, despite what you might think, is in decline in America. Our cities and the crime rates in our cities, they're not going down. I mean, we have mega churches, places that we would say are consumed with the Christian gospel, that are have horrible crime rates, horrible crime rates. Our country, and I think this is an obvious one, is more divided than it's ever been. So for all of our growth and for all of our programs and wonderful books we're putting out, more saturated than we've ever been in books and intelligence and all this other stuff that we have in the church, music and preaching, the best it's ever been. And we're the least effective, it seems, that we've ever been. Our culture is enjoying like a season of sin like no other. So, I mean, for me, if there's ever a time for a serious evaluation, self-evaluation, it's now. I look back at Jesus and I see a man who pruned down his ministry to 12 individuals that were willing to die for him. That was the bar, the standard for his core group there. And the problem I have is that I'm not sure that there's 12 people in our churches today, at least here in America, that would do the same. And I think that's a problem. We've got to think different in how we build disciples as well as what our goals are. And I don't have it all figured out, and I'm not opposed to growth either. But the mission hasn't changed, and the bar on discipleship is high, regardless of how much we lower its standards for the sake of growth. It's time for change. It's time to return to biblical discipleship. And here's the thing: there can't be any shortcuts. I think that's what's hurting us. We're trying to shortcut that way. We're trying to make it fast so we can get to something else. It's almost like discipleship is a burden on us, but discipleship is all about relationships, and there's going to be times where it's hard. And here's the thing: we can't remove the cost of discipleship. We can't try to just make it easier for them. Sometimes it's the hardship that binds us together. Now, listen, it might mean we have to sacrifice church growth on the altar. But I think that what will be left will radically shift our cities and our communities and our cultures back to Jesus. I mean, have you ever thought that maybe our churches are too full? That maybe we're creating spiritual obesity? A place where you can kind of come and eat and eat and eat until you just can't move. Now, I think there's a lot of churches that like that, so they can count one more person in the chair that never leaves, that's always there. One more, how would we say it in the pastor circles? Giving unit. My gosh. If we're to make a comparison between the disciples in the book of Acts and modern American disciple, now I'm not sure we'd like what we find. So let me ask you the question. Why do we keep doing church the same way and expecting something different to happen in our cities, in our countries, and in our culture? Think on that one. We'll see you.